The 2024 regular season is coming to a close. Based on preseason odds, all 32 teams fell into one of three groups. Number 1, they did about as expected. Number 2, they disappointed us, finishing way below where we thought. Or number 3, they surprised us, exceeding expectations. In today's video, we will discuss the few teams that surprised us.
The spin move at the last second, and then what is that?
I hesitated adding the Eagles because they were expected to win 10 to 11 games, and most likely win the division. It's hard to be a surprising team when you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the league. But at the very least, Philly has been better than most thought. The way last year ended was brutal. They lost 6 of their final 7 regular season games, got blown out in the playoffs, and future Hall of Fame center Jason Kelce retired. 2024 felt like a year that we would perhaps see a slight step back from them. But before the season, they made one crucial signing that changed everything.
Following breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ, Saquon Barkley is reportedly going to the Philadelphia Eagles on a 3-year deal.
Saquon Barkley has been on another level this year, which has gone on to show how incredible of a player he truly is, and how embarrassing the Giants organization has been. For the Eagles, they couldn't be more thrilled with this signing.
Slips 2 tackles and picks up the first down, jumping up in the air.
Now, I don't know what's more impressive, reaching or getting close to 2,000 yards rushing in a season on 6 yards a carry, or that backwards hurdle. Let's be honest, most people who would try to do this move would end up having something like this happen to them. Now, outside of Saquon, the rest of this team has been rolling. Jalen Hurts has put up efficiency numbers similar to the season they had 2 years ago when they made the Super Bowl, and he continues to be one of the most unstoppable red zone players we've seen. Through 14 games, he led the entire league in rushing touchdowns. Now, as much as their offense has been efficient, the biggest change we've seen from the Eagles has been the resurgence of their defense. This unit fell off last season, becoming perhaps the main reason why this team was bad by the end of the year. But in 2024, they have bounced back in spectacular form. Players like Zach Vaughn, Cooper DeJean, Brandon Graham before he got injured, Reed Blankenship, and Jalen Carter have turned this unit into the #1 scoring defense in the league through 14 games. Now, there is some weird energy surrounding this team, which has to do with the comments made by AJ Brown about Jalen Hurts and the drama that followed. But regardless, if they can handle that situation within the locker room, this team is definitely a Super Bowl contender.
Breaking news on a late Sunday night. 9-time Pro Bowler, former Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson planning to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Coming off a season where the Steelers were a one and done, this team entered a transitional period. They ditched quarterback Kenny Pickett and brought in 2 replacements, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. These 2 players had reached a breaking point with their previous teams and weren't thought to be that valuable. Both were considered lower-end starters entering 2024. If that was the case, there wasn't too much to write home about with this team. The defense is always great, but with a limited offense, oddsmakers had them finishing 8-9. Just one of those forgettable middle-of-the-pack teams. However, that's not what happened. To get things rolling, this team started Justin Fields due to Russell Wilson's injury, and in the opening 6 games, they rattled off a 4-2 record. Although limited, Fields looked pretty solid. Many would say better than he did at any point in Chicago. This Steelers offense wasn't great, but it certainly was better than the previous season. Then the team turned to Russell Wilson, a move that was questioned at the time because of the team's success, but after a few games, it was clear that it was the right move.
Fires, end zone! Calvin Austin, touchdown, Steelers!
Russell Wilson has had the career resurgence he was looking for, posting the best QB rating since his Seattle days, which through 14 games is top 10 in the NFL. Now, it's certainly not the Russell Wilson we saw in Seattle, but he's certainly better than he's been the last 2 seasons. And luckily for Pittsburgh, they're paying him next to nothing. Overall, this offense is on pace to finish top 10 in scoring, and this defense is as good as it always is. The consistency of that side of the ball is such a testament to Mike Tomlin and the staff. They really just needed a semi-capable quarterback to make them relevant, which is exactly what happened. This team was expected to be average, and instead, they have been quite a surprise. We will find out what this team is made of come the playoffs. Now, what about the team that took the largest dead cap hit in NFL history to get rid of Russell Wilson?
$85 million will not be available for the Denver Broncos because they have cut Russell Wilson.
The Denver Broncos entered a state of rebuilding after going 8-9 in 2023. After getting rid of Russell Wilson, the team decided to draft Bo Nix in the 2024 NFL Draft. With a rookie quarterback and what was perceived as a bad roster, the Broncos were expected to win just 5 to 6 games, projecting to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Bo Nix took over as the day one starter, and at first looked rough, as many would expect from a rookie. The first 4 games weren't great, and I said in a video that this team would be held back because of their rookie quarterback, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Down the middle, Mims! He's gone! Oh! Touchdown, Denver!
The Broncos began rattling off win after win. Nix went from objectively bad and limited to awesome throughout the season, as the offense has produced multiple 30-plus outings. Nix likely won't win Rookie of the Year, but he certainly has placed himself in the conversation. Now, while the offense has been competent, a little above league average, what's truly turned this team around has been their incredible defense. Last season, they were atrocious, ranking near dead last in scoring, which included that embarrassing 70-point game. This year, they are one of the best scoring defenses, led by guys like Pat Surtain, Brandon Jones, John Franklin Myers, and Nick Bonito. Their run defense has been stifling, a true night and day difference from last season. Hey, Vance Joseph wasn't a great head coach for these guys a few years ago, but now that he's the D coordinator, he clearly knows how to build a solid defense.
Sources say that Commanders coach Ron Rivera has now just been informed that he also has been fired. Really not a surprise.
Last year, we saw the Texans draft a quarterback 2nd overall and then shock the NFL world. This year, that's exactly what the Commanders have done. After drafting quarterback Jaden Daniels 2nd overall, people were excited to see the young rookie play. However, no one expected the Commanders to be good. In 2023, they were terrible. They had the worst scoring defense in the NFL, an anemic offense that struggled to produce consistently, and after the season, they cleaned house. With a new head coach, all signs pointed towards this franchise entering a state of rebuild. Odds makers felt like this was one of the worst rosters and had them finishing around 6 to 7 wins. However, it only took a few games for everyone to change their minds about this team.
On his launch from McLaurin! He's got it! Touchdown!
Through 4 games, Jaden Daniels was completing over 80% of his passes and looked like an MVP candidate. And through 5 weeks, this team stood at 4-1. Then a few weeks later, even when they were supposed to lose, they had luck on their side.
This town is going crazy! It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland!
Their defense has gone from the worst in the league last season to average this year. Their offense has produced at a top 10 level, and they almost certainly are going to make the playoffs. Even though they have struggled here and there during the latter half of the season, this is an amazing accomplishment for a team that, outside of that bizarre 7-9 season where they made the playoffs, hasn't looked like this level of team in many years.
We have some breaking news from the NFL here on HQ, where Minnesota Vikings rookie J.J. McCarthy is set to undergo knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his right knee.
The Vikings were at their wits' end with Kirk Cousins, a time that left Vikings fans somewhat pleased, but always wanting more. The team decided to draft quarterback J.J. McCarthy to be a successor, but after he got injured in the preseason, any optimism the fan base had about 2024 was diminished. Bridge quarterback Sam Darnold was going to start the regular season regardless, but now there was no chance to see the team's future in 2024. Plus, odds makers felt like this roster wasn't great, as they expected the Vikings to win around 6 to 7 games. Boy, has that prediction been wrong.
Bringing pressure, it's picked up, Darnold, end zone, Jefferson, touchdown! Justin Jefferson.
Darnold went from bust that had been demoted to a journeyman backup in 2023 to an MVP candidate in 2024. The job Kevin O'Connell has done with all the quarterbacks he's coached in Minnesota has been astonishing. And what he's done with Sam Darnold is no different. So with the help of his coach, this man has not only saved his career, but is just months away from getting a massive payday. Which leaves a dilemma for the Vikings that I covered in a recent video. Now, there's no denying this offense has been electric. From Darnold connecting with Jefferson and Addison in the pass game to Aaron Jones cooking out of the backfield. But like many of these other teams we've seen in this video, the improvement in this team's defense is undeniable. They were about average by league standards last season. This year, they have been one of the best units in football. Their run defense has been outstanding. And Vikings fans better enjoy it while it lasts, because D coordinator Brian Flores is almost certainly getting a head coaching job after this season. With a stout defense and an explosive offense akin to the '98 Vikings with Cunningham, Moss, and Carter, who's to say these guys don't run the table in the postseason?
Quick throw. Intercepted. Van Ginkel. Down the sideline. Touchdown.